All right. Hey, Oxford 821. What are you doing today? Just hanging out? No, never. So we opened up the pool, did all the power wash and all, and I cut the Arborvitaes along the back there about, I don't know, 8 to 9 foot high all the way across. They were hanging over the fence. And that edge there was wrapping all the way around. And then this edge here was wrapping around and connecting up with my trumpet vine, so it looked like a big mess, and the trumpet vine started going up the Arborvitae. One thing leads to another, and you start cutting, you start trimming, and cutting and trimming, and it's never ending. But let me show you what happens here. So these Arborvitae probably been here 20 years, and I planted them along the edge here. You can see, looks like a wall. And then you trim it, and on the sunny side it's green and nobody can see in, and fine. But what happens is these branches, when they grow, they slope down. Every one of them slope down. The bottom 3 feet, and this is nature, being nature, the bottom 3 feet swing down, and where they touch the ground, roots start to grow wherever they was branches touch the ground. So roots will grow there, and then what happens is it grows another tree from that, and it'll rot off where it goes into the ground, and then a new tree will grow. So if you look at the back side here, you got your main trees. Let me zoom out here. And then what's happening is, like, look right here, like, see, this is a whole nother tree. You can see a whole nother line of trees are growing along this bottom half. So you'll have one row of trees, and then the second row of trees will grow, and it'll just keep on creeping all the way across. So what I started doing is I trimmed the edge of this one. Like I said, the trumpet vines started climbing up into this tree, and I cut the top of that one off. The trumpet vines there, you can see how nice. I make them like little balls and like little umbrellas for the hummingbirds while you're sitting out here. But this one grew like a double. It looked like an ice cream cone. And I cut the top of it off because these branches from the Arborvitae, they were all tangled up together. So I cut that out. Well, then I started cutting these bottom ones out. You can see the roots. This is where the roots start to grow. And it's a lot harder than just cutting them off. You can cut them off, but right here, you can see what I'm doing. Look at that. Where they go into the ground, it's like I'm digging out a whole nother tree. And then I cut this end off right here, so it comes off the tree, grows roots, the branch swings up, and it grows a whole nother tree right here. A whole nother tree. You could look at this one. See how it's coming down? It's under the ground right here. Well, if I clean this off, that's that branch right there that I cut off. And it's growing another tree. So this is about as far as I can get here. I'm on my 3rd burn pile, and all my real dead matter is gone, has burned up. So all I'm left with is live Arborvitae, which is not going to burn right now. I'd have to really start a really good fire underneath it, but stinking, this is a 7 foot tall burn pile. This is just from that edge that I'm not even finished yet. Here's the top of the trumpet vine. I said it grew up and grew a whole nother ball, and that's huge. That's like 5 foot across. That's huge. This side over here, you can see the dirt ring. I was having a heck of a time trying to get through with the 0 turn with the mower between the fruit trees to come around here. And I was like, man, it was never like this. What the heck's going on? Well, that's because I'm growing here. So you can see right here, I'm growing a whole second row of trees. This should be way back there. So this was my first burn pile. You can see how big it was. I cut all that off, and there's still some under there I got to get out. I got to dig these roots out here from these ones that I cut off. I'm going to rake all this stuff up, all those needles and all this stuff out of here, and then put grass seed down there. I'll be able to mow and cut grass seed. But yeah, that was yesterday's and today's project, just to finish this. Now I might be able to start a fire with this stuff. I'll pack it underneath there and see if it'll light. But this whole outer ring, man, it's probably going to be 4 more burn piles worth of branches for another time. But I can't wait too long, because then I'll need a stinking stump grinder to try to get these things out of here. It's crazy how deep the roots are going in there. But look at that mess, man. Look at that. Look how they're just growing in there. And I think if I just cut like 3 feet out, the ones that are laying on the ground, these top ones are going to hang down enough to where when you're in the pool, you're not going to, people aren't going to be able to see in. Not that there's anybody back here, but it'll still be fine. It won't feel all open. Raking around in here, it actually is coming up pretty nice. It's looking pretty good. After I get this up, I'm going to take it down to the burn pile and try to light the fire with this. And if I can get the fire started, it looks like, because these are deeper in the woods here, that these branches aren't embedded into the ground too much. I mean, the next one is, but it looks like it might not be too hard. If the fire goes, I can keep moving my way through here and just keep throwing on top of the fire and keep it going and get this done. Alright, so what I did is I just dumped the pine needles just on top and let them all filter down, and started the fire from the bottom. But it's almost like a leaf fire, like a bunch of smoke and smoldering stuff. I don't. It's hot as heck though, man. I can't get 10 feet to that thing. Maybe it'll be hot enough to at least take all the green stuff down and just leave me with a pile of sticks to dry out. I'd be happy with that. Alright, got that cleaned up. I got it down. I took a bunch of loads. That little bit right there was like 4 trash can loads. This last bit though it's pretty much dirt, and that'll smother the fire. I can't burn this, so this is going to get dumped in our trash can, and Mr. Trash is going to take that away. But the fire is doing exactly what I thought it would do. It burned all the needles and then kind of shut itself off. There's not enough embers in there to keep a good fire going. It's kind of hollow on the inside there. Oh, did I mention I'm doing this by hand? I climbed all the way up there with a ladder. That's 15 feet up right there. I climbed up a 10-foot ladder, then climbed the tree the rest of the way to get up there. And of course, I don't even have my chainsaw. I've been using this, the kamikaze sucker. But I'm going to try to get that next one, man. You know how it is when you start doing something. You're like, oh, let's just go to the next one and go to the next one and let's just keep going. So I just cut a little bit on the top, and then I cut a little bit on the bottom so it don't rip the bark. If you just cut it straight from the top, the weight's gonna pull down, and it'll peel your bark of your tree off. So I like to score it on the bottom too, and it'll leave you with that nice cut. All right, see how this sprung loose, but it's not. See, this one's not too bad. Look at that. Got you, sucker. Bam. Man, if I can keep doing that. Yeah. The problem is I got to stop myself, because I can't let this burn pile get much bigger. I'll start the whole neighborhood on fire. Yeah, I got the fire going now. I went underneath my oak trees along the fence down there and started picking up leaves, and I was stuffing leaves inside there, and it got it hot enough to where it's burning. So now I'm gonna come over to this side. I'm gonna keep going. This'll all burn too. I gotta rake this all up. That is all that's left of the fire. That's mostly pine needles from doing all the raking, and then a couple straggler branches on the top. that I didn't like, so I took them off when I was finishing up. But a lot of those pine needles are wet, so they're kind of smoldering. I don't know if that's going to be a pile of dirt for me to move later, or if that heat can disintegrate that stuff, but we'll come back to that tomorrow. All right, well, here it is. Look at this. Talking about taking back the yard. Holy cow, man. Yeah. So none of those branches are touching. There is a couple, I think I got like 3 or 4 of these root stumps here like that I have to dig out, and I just gave up on it for now, but that might just die like that. And there's another one there. So there's like 3 or 4 of those that I gotta actually stand in the tree and try to dig them out. But look how this cherry tree was growing halfway, because all these bushes were coming out like almost touching that cherry tree, and then they were angling down to the dirt. So I could barely get through here with the mower. I was like, man, I got to do something. But look how much it was, man. That's a lot, man. Holy cow, it's taking up so much of the yard. But let's see what it looks like. Hey, I found some long lost dog toys. We'll clean that up for them. But I raked it all on the inside, and I thought I only had to go like 2 or 3 feet up. No, I had to go 5 foot up, because 5 foot is the angle of the branch that touches. So you have to go 5 foot up. The little catbirds, look at the little catbirds. They were, as I'm raking, they're like jumping in front of my rake, grabbing bugs, like not even afraid of me. So this is the inside. Yeah, I had to take it up like 5 feet. So that's the whole back of the pool yard now. It still looks all right. It's still kind of a wall. When I planted these trees, this backyard was wide open for like 200 yards. All these trees have grown up since we put the pool in, but just this area here, this area right here is as big as my front yard I had as a kid growing up, the house that I lived in. That right there. And that's I'm gonna have to put grass seed down before it turns into a mud slick. But yeah, that's all done. That's cut, the top of that's cut off, and now that has room to round out right there too. All right, we're gonna call this job done. I'll just check that fire later.